Good evening, friends. We'll start with today's session. We were discussing about the concluding part of the organ of medicine, and while discussing that, we have discussed about the some part about the mesmerism in the last lecture. Mesmerism is a method by which we can utilize the energy from a person who is full of energy towards the person who lacked the energy. That aspect we have learned, and this aspect of providing the energy from a person who is having full of energy, who is spiritually have a lot of energy gained, and he utilizes his energy for the person who is not having proper strength. That aspect is called as a positive mesmerism, and that we have discussed in length. One footnote to that paragraph which we have not discussed, footnote to aphorism number 288, where he explained what should be the qualities of the mesmerizer. That means the person who used to utilize his energy, that person how he can gain that energy and how he should be. That aspect Hahnemann have explained in the footnote. So we'll first read that footnote and then we'll go towards the 289 aphorism. So we'll read the footnote number 186, 166 or 186. Especially of one of such persons of whom there are not many. So such persons who can utilize their energy, they are not so many because it requires really a spiritual energy. It requires that strength. And that's why he said, especially of one of such persons of whom there are not many, who along with great kindness of disposition. So first quality which he has mentioned is the kindness of disposition. What it means? Kindness is a very important entity. Kindness is a sympathetic means. Kindness is the thing which one should born where the conscience is there. The person who has reached towards the internal mind where the conscience, he is full of conscience, that person always remains kind to the others. Even though someone behaves badly, these persons always remains in the kind position. So disposition means tendency. The person who is having tendency of a kindness, who remains to be kind towards the others. And perfect bodily powers. Second important quality which he explains over there, perfect bodily powers, possesses but very moderate desire for sexual intercourse. That is another important thing. The sexual power, if one utilizes his sexual power again and again, and if he loses the semen which carries the energy, the person loses his energy and he cannot utilize it. He should have a sexual desire, but it should be moderate. It should be utilized in a moderate way. In Marathi, we call brahmacharya. That is very important quality which one should born, and that those person carries a big energy in them. And this has been told in Ayurveda, this has been told in our culture, that yes, it is the thing which provides you and creates a good energy in you. So, but a very moderate desire for sexual intercourse, which it would give him very little trouble wholly to suppress, in whom consequently all the fine vital spirits that would otherwise be employed in the preparation of the semen are ready to be communicated to the others by touching them and powerfully exerting the will. So if he preserves his semen, if he preserves his energy, if he preserves the total power in himself, the person who who can be a mesmerizer and who can utilize his energy for the betterment of the others who are suffering from him. So this aspect which he tried to explain over there, it is the transmission of energy from one person who is having a good energy towards the other who never have a proper energy. This method is called as mesmerism, and here the mesmerizer is the person who carries this energy. Some powerful mesmerizers with whom I have become acquainted, had all these peculiar characters. So he explains, Hahnemann explains, I have met with such certain mesmerizers and I have seen all those qualities with him. On that day, I have explained many examples of this positive mesmerism. I have explained one example of a great philosopher. On that day, I forgot his name. He's J. Krishnamurti, who is called to be a universal man, and he was having that healing touch, healing hand, and because of which the with that healing hand, the spiritual power, the Vimlatakar, who is a philosopher and who devoted her life for the betterment of the mankind and finding it out the knowledge about the mankind, who suffered from the tumor cancer in the ear, vanished just by this touch. These are the examples which are very typical of the positive mesmerism, which are explained by certain person to whom you cannot deny. And there I have seen my with my own eyes. Yes, such things happens. Hahnemann also taken note of it, and that also explains that Hahnemann was not just looking towards one pathy, he was looking towards other things where the energy is utilized. Homeopathy is the one of the method which utilizes the energy, but it is conditional. Here it is also conditional that mesmerizer should be of that strength, but it works. And these are things which are one must know, and what the qualities about the mesmerizer which are mentioned over there in that footnote. We'll turn towards the next aphorism where the opposite side, that is opposite way of explaining the mesmerism, which is called as a negative mesmerism, which he has mentioned over there. So what he says over there in 289. All the above mentioned methods of practicing mesmerism depend upon an influx of more or less vital force into the patient and hence are termed as positive mesmerism. So here, through the touch, the energy is transformed from the person who is having the positive energy towards the negative energy. One footnote is there. We'll read that footnote and we'll go ahead with the aphorism. The footnote number 167. When I hear speak of the decided and certain curative powers of positive mesmerism, I most assuredly do not mean that abuse of it, where by repeated passes of this kind, continued for half an hour or whole hour at a time, even day after day, performed on a weak nervous patient, that monstrous revolution of the whole human system is effected, which is termed somnambulism, wherein the human being is ravished from the world of the Spain sense and seems to belong more to the world of spirits, a highly unnatural and dangerous state by means of which it has been infrequently attempted to cure chronic diseases. So here what he explains over there, that such a persons who used to do a mesmerism, it has a certain period, at least half an hour or one hour per day, and the persons who are nervous enough, who doesn't have strength, who have lost their strength, who have lost their energy, who have lost their mind, with the help of this positive mesmerism you can arouse them from the sleep. It is somnambulism. That means you are making them up, who are absolutely lost their strength, they comes out of that state, but it should be done in a proper manner. If you go doing that repeatedly, it can create a problem. You have to look towards the certain person, and yes, it can be possible you can get many patients who have cured with such method, but the qualities, the methods, and the person who used to do the mesmerism should have a thorough knowledge about it and who can utilize his knowledge for the purpose of betterment. Second variety, which he starts explaining hereafter, is called as a negative mesmerism. What he explains. An opposite of employing mesmerism, however, as it produces just as contrary effect, deserves to be termed negative mesmerism. To this belong the passes which are used to rouse from the somnambulic sleep, as also all manual processes known by the names of soothing or ventility. This discharge by means of negative mesmerism of vital force accumulated to excess in individual parts of the system of undebilitated persons is most surely and simply performed by making very rapid motion of the flat extended hand. So flat extended hand. This has been passed without touching to the body, around 1 inch outside the body, and from above downwards, going from head towards the foot and in the earth. A very rapid motion of flat extended hand held parallel to and about an inch distant from the body, from the top of the head to the tips of the toes. So see, this is the method which he explains over there, and this is what we do in our daily practice in India. In Indian culture, this method is generally used. This is called as a negative mesmerism, which we used to do. We used to do it by many means. We used to use the what you can say, the peacock's feathers to remove this negative energy from the body. Or someone uses chappal, someone uses the common salt in the hand, and they used to do the same thing. Hahnemann explained all those things, and this is called as a removing the negative energy through the body and making a harmony again inside the body. There is one footnote, 168 footnote. It is well-known rule that person who is either to be positively or negatively mesmerized should not wear silk on part of the body. Those persons who used to do a mesmerism should not wear silk because silk carries a energy in it, electric energy. You know that if you wear a silk clothes, many times if you touch the others, many times there will be sparks. There happens to be spark. If you touch them, immediately you get a spark over there. The electricity flows in that manner, and that's why he mentions over there the person who will going to give a mesmerism should not wear a silk. Then what he says, the more rapidly this pass is made, so much the more effectually will the discharge be effected. So how you do it more fast from above downwards, the discharge will be very fast. Thus, for instance, in case where a previously healthy woman, from a sudden suppression of her catamnia means menses, by a violent mental shock, lies to all appearance dead. The vital force which is probably accumulated in the precordial region will by such rapid negative pass be discharged and its equilibrium throughout the whole body restored so that resuscitation generally follows immediately. So he has given one example of a negative mesmerism, a lady who has lost menses because it has been suppressed because of mental shock, and she got into such a state where she has lost the life as good as. And when this negative mesmerism is done from above downwards, from the region of heart towards the mm, towards outside, what has happened? That then he explained there is one footnote which he mentions. Since a negative was, especially if it be a very rapid, is extremely injurious to delicate persons affected with chronic ailment and deficient in vital force. So he explains over there such persons where you how to do a mesmerism should be done in a proper manner. Sometimes it can get a negative effects also. So the positive effect happens at the same time, negative effects can happen because of this method. So one who is really knowledgeable about this mesmerism should do it, otherwise it should not be done. It can cause create a problems also. So if the person on whom you are going to do a negative mesmerism, you must know him properly. What purpose you are doing, that also you have to understand properly, and it should not produce a negative effect inside the patient. Then what he says, there is one more footnote. He has given one example of it, 170. A strong country lad means mulga, 10 years of age, received in the morning on account of slight indisposition from a professed female mesmerizer several very powerful passes within the points of both the thumbs from the pit of the stomach along the lower edge of the ribs. He instantly grew deathly pale and fell into such a state of unconsciousness and immobility that no effort could arouse him, and he was almost given up for the day. So see, he has given one more example of this negative mesmerism, where it has produced a very difficult state. I made his eldest brother give him very rapid negative pass from the crown of the head over the head to the feet, and in one instant he recovered his consciousness and become lively. So these are the things. One, if you know how to give the mesmerism or utilize the mesmerism, it's well and good. If you don't know, don't go for it, because it has its effects. It used to produce a dynamic arrangement as well as derangements. Both the things can be possible, and that's why if it goes in a wrong way, you have to do a resuscitation. You have to bring him again into the state of health. And these examples which he has mentioned over there. And to conclude that aphorism, what he says, in like manner, gentle, less rapid, negative fast diminishes the excessive restlessness and sleeplessness accompanied with anxiety, sometimes producing very irritable persons by a too powerful positive fast. So he has mentioned both aspects of this negative mesmerism, and the negative mesmerism can produce good results as well as sometimes it can produce a harm to the body. So one should do it in a properly manner. If he knows the thing, then he can utilize. If you don't know, don't go for it. That is the one important entity which he tried to explain over there. So Hahnemann have taken into consideration all the things where the energy flows. So the way homeopathy works on the basis of energy, the homeopathic medicines which carries the energy works conditionally. If the simillimum is perfect, if potency is perfect, then it works definitely. In the similar manner, mesmerism, the two aspects of mesmerism he tried to explain over there. The positive mesmerism by direct touching from the person who is having full of energy towards the person who is having negative or don't have energy. And second, negative mesmerism, where body never touches over there towards the person, but just by passing, flowing the or and redistributing the energy inside the human body by means of pass is called as negative mesmerism. The positive as well as negative effects both can happen because of negative mesmerism. So, person who is acquainted with all such methods is only the person who can do it or who should do it. Otherwise, one should not go for it. So, all those things related with homeopathic science or energy science, he tried to explain over there, and he was the person who was having all those knowledge, and he met with such persons. And I have met also with certain persons who have such similar types of energy, and these peoples really have that energy with them. I have seen his result in a one patient of a depressed case by one person directly with the help of positive mesmerism. Within a minute, it worked and it changed the attitude of that person. I have seen that when I was in the function, and that lady, she was absolutely depressed. Actually, I was interested in taking her case, but it was function was going on, and one fellow who was full of energy, I know him personally, he came for that function, and when we talked about it, he said, "Where is that lady?" And he sat with her, talked with her, and just put a head hand on her head and kept it for 1 minute. And after 1 minute, the whole thing changed. So these things happens, but person should be of that much of quality who can do it. So that's all regarding the mesmerism, which we have discussed in length. We will tomorrow we'll discuss one more aphorism 290, where he has talked about the massage therapy, which is also one of the important way through which energy is redistributed. So tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we'll conclude this sixth edition of Organ of Medicine. So big sessions, nearly about 170 lectures or 72 lectures we have discussed about this whole organon, right from aphorism number 1 to 290. So it's a big work which has happened, and it will be useful for everyone. My suggestion, those who have joined later, go through the um, YouTube channel, go with the previous and learn it right from the first, so that if your base is perfect, it will help you in your daily homeopathic practice. There are many who are replying me after listening, and they are listening right from the first two. It's a wonderful that they give the reply yes sir and they ask questions. It is a good thing that if we don't know, put question over there. If you don't understand anything, put question over there. Whenever time possible, I always used to answer the questions answers on the YouTube channel also. So put your questions if you have any query regarding them and go through them again. That's all for today. Thank you very much. If you have any query, we'll have discussion. Otherwise, we'll continue.
Hello, sir.
Nisha.
Sir, I have one query. Sometimes this happens in pediatric cases. A child has stopped his habit of bedwetting, and when we give homeopathic medicine, he again starts bedwetting. Why this happens, sir?
No, if it starts, it means your remedy is wrong. Something wrong is there. If it starts again. Second important thing, find it out whether it is related with weather. During summer season, bedwetting stops. But whenever again weather becomes cold, it starts again. So it might be related with the weather, or it might be related because of the remedy which has worked more and produces little bit more stimulation. That might be the reason happens over there. You have to find it out a right remedy and it right potency, then it stops again.
Okay, sir. And one more question, sir. Sir, can we give polycrest remedy for acute?
Generally, it depends upon what state patient comes. If the patient comes in a very acute state, the remedy should be acute one. But patient doesn't have a very severe acute reaction, but still he is having acute problem. Then sometimes chronic remedy can be utilized. For example, calcarea cough we can use as a remedy. Specifically, when they are children, you can utilize those types of remedies, but they should not be repeated too much. You cannot repeat them up and on. And if you want to repeat, you give it in LM.
And in such case, sir, if patient is previously on the here for treatment of chronic disease and we give polycrest remedy as a acute, then how to go next for follow-up?
Then
We should wait until the...
no. First important thing, take the follow-up. If he comes for acute, just see the acute. Next day, day after tomorrow, you ask him to come. What are the reasons? What happens after taking the remedy? If he settles, wait and watch. There is no need to repeat it old remedy again unless and until he shows the previous symptom. Sometimes that chronic remedy can be a complementary to it. It can complement the action of previous remedy and cure can happen. It depends if whether to repeat or not to repeat.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any more question? Okay. So thank you being there. We'll meet again tomorrow with the further 290 aphorism. Thanks a lot.